Good morning, everybody. Warm welcome to Magic Makeup Monday. I'm actually in Cornwall at the moment. How exciting is that? So tonight, the Super Troopers down in Cornwall and I are going to go and see Prue Leith do her. She's doing a sort of stand-up, one woman. I don't not stand-up. She's not a comic, but she's doing a one-woman tour around the country. I think telling her story. So we thought it would be a nice thing to go to, and a very good friend of mine who I've known since I was a teenager called Sue lives in Cornwall, and she's part of the Super Troopers group down here. So she invited me to come and stay. And my initial thought was, oh my goodness, we've got Magic Makeup Monday. You know, how am I going to do that and be able to go to the Prue Leith talk tonight, which is in Truro? And then I realized that I could actually do this anywhere, even on the moon if necessary. And so I'm doing it from Cornwall, so it's fine. And today we're going to be talking about neutral makeup for those people who aren't sure what color they are, whether the undertone of their skin is blue or yellow, cool or warm. And for those people who also like quite a muted effect with their makeup, who aren't like me, always going for bright lipsticks and very specific eye makeup. So that's what Sally is going to demonstrate. And actually, apropos of Prue Leith, I thought I'd start with this because this week or this month in Woman and Home, there's quite a big feature about Prue Leith, and there's a picture on the front of her wearing orange, and inside there's a picture of her wearing pink. So that's the pink one. That's the orange one. And what is interesting about Prue Leith is that she clearly loves colour. And I think when you love colour, what happens is that you actually don't consider or don't want to consider that some colours suit you more than others. And I'm sure that's true for Prue Leith. And I'm sure that if Prue Leith was here now, she'd be saying, oh, well, that's a nonsense, cool tone and warm tone. I personally love colour. If I want to wear orange, I'm going to wear orange. If I want to wear bright pink, I'm going to wear bright pink. And we all know, if you follow the idea of cool and warm tone, that orange suits warm tone people much better than it suits cool tone, and pink suits cool tone much more than orange tone. So I might have quite a heated argument with her because she would probably not even accept the concept. But I don't know about you. I think those pictures illustrate quite clearly that she suits one of the tones more than the other. And let me find it again. So I'm going to just show you that again. So that's her in orange. That's her in pink. So what do you think? I'm going to risk that she looks better in the cool tone colours. Are you nodding along with me there? Or is anybody see? Let me see if I can see most of you. Let's change the view. So gallery view. I'm not going to ask you in terms of your personal opinion, but would you be nodding your head now if you think she suits pink more than orange? That's a leading question. I want to get you to nod your head to agree with me. Now shake your head if you think she suits orange more than pink. Oh, some of you disagree with me. How dare you? That's not allowed. Okay. You are allowed to disagree with me. But anyway, whatever. I think that there is one. It's not that she can't wear orange. You know, that's not the point. The point is that she does wear orange, and I think she looks a tad better in the pinker tones rather than the orange tones. Be interesting to see what she's wearing tonight, and we can look at I can look at her actually in person, not through a photograph, and see what I think when I look at her in person. Anyway, the point about color is that yes, we can wear any color under the sun, but in fact, if we choose the colors that suit us best, we tend to look better, we tend to look healthier, we also tend to get more compliments on what we're wearing, because people look at you and they think, oh, she looks nice, and they can't exactly nail why, but eventually it will be effectively it will be because the person is wearing the tones that suit their skin tone better. So talking about neutral tones, the thing about neutral tones is that we can all wear them because they don't scream one thing or another. And certainly if you are confused and you really genuinely cannot work out whether you're cool toned or warm toned, and you want to wear nice makeup and look good, then reaching for a neutral palette is perhaps the way to go. And it will give you a nicely subtle look. Because it's subtle, it's not going to scream one thing or the other. And so therefore, you're going to be very safe wearing these colors. So they might appeal to those of you who like to wear makeup, but you feel that it's inappropriate for you to really, you know, stand out in the crowd, if you like, that the makeup is enhancing your look, but it's not predominantly screaming one thing or the other in terms of color choices. So I'm going to hand over to Sally, and she's going to talk through the way that we can choose neutrals and use neutrals to really good effect. As you know, Sally is actually warm toned, and she's quite definitely warm toned, but she's going to show you how she can wear a neutral palette and it still looks really lovely. So I'm going to hand over to Sally now, and she's going to go through the demonstration for you.
Thank you so much, Tricia. Good morning, everybody. Lovely to see you all. Yes, I am going to talk a little bit about, also, I just wanted to say that I used to do, well, I still do it a little bit, but I used to do colour analysis. So very much aware of cool and warm, and how, you know, some people do definitely, I totally agree with Tricia, some people do definitely look better in warmer. Some people definitely look better in cooler, but there is sort of like a continuum. And there are some people that actually do look better in the sort of the mid tone colors, and they're not really warm or really cool. So for them, that neutral palette does work really well. And I'm going to show you, particularly with the soft neutral eyeshadow palette, I'm going to talk about 3 different ways of wearing it. So what I've done so far this morning is I have put on my 3 primers. So I put on my face prime, my Smooth Light Silk face prime. I have put on my lovely eye prime, and I have put on my Never Feather lip prime. I've also put on my foundation. So this morning I have used Continuous Cover Foundation number 2, and I've mixed it, so this foundation, and I have mixed it with a little squirt of Light Look Beauty Balm number 1. These are my favorite little mixes at the moment, the color of my skin. And I added a little squirt of the primer, the face prime, to make my sort of my perfect tailored sort of what I like in terms of the texture and the color for me. I've also used my concealer number 2 to try and disguise the dark circles of the weekend. Had a full-on weekend this weekend. And I've used a little bit of the translucent powder, this one, the translucent powder. Just a dusting of that. You can see I've also put a little bit of extra powder just on my outer corner of my eyes, ready for, sometimes I do that before I put my eye makeup on. So if I get any spillage of eye makeup, it will fall onto the powder and I can then just dust it away at the end. And I put a tiny sweep of bronzer on as well, which I often do after blusher, but today I've put just a little bit on in a sort of a 3 shape, and a little bit in my temples. So that's where I am so far. So the soft, I just want to show you, if any of you, some of you might already have this product, the Soft Neutral Trio. This is a really interesting trio. What I love about all the trios actually is the way in which you can wear them. Not just, so they give you massive versatility. You can either, and sometimes if I just want a wash of color, you've probably seen me do this on video. Sometimes I will just wear the taupe, this one, all over as a wash of color. If I want a lighter wash of color, I will wear rose gold all over. And if I just don't want to look as I'm wearing much makeup, but I want to put something on my eye, sometimes I even just wear the cream all over, and I might then put an eyeliner with it or an eyeshadow as eyeliner, mascara, then do the rest of my makeup and I'm done. So that's one way you can use them. You can also use them in pairs, so you can just wear the cream all over and the taupe as an eyeliner, or the rose gold all over and the taupe as an eyeliner, or vice versa, the taupe as a socket line. So what I'm going to demonstrate today on my eyes is 2 ways of using the 3 colours for still a very neutral look. So on this eye, what I'm going to do is put the cream all over. So that's just a very, very simple wash of cream. Do them simultaneously, I think, to make it easier to do. So you can see this colour, it's quite rare to find in makeup a matte, lovely cream shade. Often creams are very shiny in the shop. So actually this is such a lovely, useful eye shade. So just simple, light, fresh cream look. On the other eye, what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the middle one, the rose gold, all over. And this is very, actually, it's a bit like flesh colour. So it's a very pretty, peachy, rosy colour that is very similar to a lot of people's natural eye colour. So it's just very neutral. I'm bringing it just to, if you can see, above the socket line and covering the eyelid with it. So you can see the difference, I think, there in the cream one and the rose gold one. So as I said, you could literally do that, put some eyeliner and mascara on, and you're done if you wanted a very, very simple look. I say with this eye, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the rose gold, so the middle one again, into my socket line. So I am going to basically just create, again, very easy to do, because, and if you're nervous of colour and eyeshadows particularly, I think a lot of ladies are a bit worried about putting an eyeshadow on that's they think might be too heavy, too strong. You can't go wrong with these, you just can't. So just sweeping it in a sort of windscreen wiper effect into and just above the socket line and bringing it down a little bit. So it just creates a little bit of shaping to the eye without looking, again, as though I'm really wearing anything much at all. So very simple. On this eye, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go for the slightly stronger colour, taupe. It's not strong, it's still it's such a pretty, I love this colour because it's a sort of like a donkey brown, so it's not a really yellowy based brown, it's a little bit more of a grey brown. It suits everyone. So again, I'm going to just put it I'm using eyeshadow brush number 7, and I'm just going to put it again into my socket line and just above. And if you've got a hooded eye, you can use, this is a really good one to use sort of above the socket to create a sort of and full socket line, because it's very, very natural in colour. Just bringing it more colour. And you can see with these, because they're so gentle, you can just build up. But you can see that it's a little bit stronger, hopefully, than the other one. Keep going, hold it up. And again, you can just sweep it down a little bit. So still a very, very subtle colour. It's not, you don't look as though you're wearing a strong brown or a strong grey, but it's creating a little bit of shape to the eye. So that's the taupe. So what I'm going to do with this eye, because I haven't used the cream on this one, I'm going to use just a tiny amount of the lightest one, the cream, in my, just in the centre, just there. So that just gives a little pop of light in the centre without putting it all over like I did with this one. So that's sort of just a way of doing it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use an eyeliner, and you can, if you want to, just use the taupe as an eyeliner. In fact, I might do that on this eye just to show you. So using my wedge brush number 8. So again, if you're the sort of person that really is a bit frightened of having a strong eyeliner look, this will just give you a very subtle look. So I'm just going to put the taupe onto the top of my lashes. It will hardly show. but it will just slightly define the top of the lashes. And underneath, again, a very, very, very natural, light look, but pretty and quite a good training look. So if you're a bit worried about doing this particular method of eyeliner with a dark color, like, because I often do it with midnight blue, with charcoal, with forest, something, or chocolate. If you're worried about that, it's good to practice with taupe, because you can't really go wrong. And when you've got the hang of it, then you might feel a little bit more confident to use a slightly darker color, which will give a bit more impact. But for now, if you're trying, you've never tried doing this method, if you're using a very, very subtle color, you can't really go too wrong. So that's just, as you see, very simple, slightly darker, but hardly shows much. So on this eye, I'm going to use the beautiful soft grey eyeliner, which again, I think suits warm and cool. Although I'm warm, I often do wear grey. I've got bluey grey eyes. So I'm going to use this one. Just, if you haven't tried these, they are so lovely and soft that you, again, you can see I slightly wing it up at the outer edge. Little short strokes. And you can bring it, I like to bring it for daytime, maybe sort of halfway across. For nighttime, I like maybe to bring it further across, totally up to you. So that's the soft grey just on the top. I'm going to put it on the bottom as well. And I like to bring the bottom up to meet the top. Just to widen it slightly at the top. So you can sort of already see that's a stronger look on that side. But again, what you can do with the neutral palette, if you want to, you can just slightly soften it. You can take the taupe and you can go over just to soften that if you think, oh, it's too strong for me. Just take a little bit of an eyeshadow and go over it. So you can see the slight difference in the two eyes. They're still both fairly neutral so far. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to just, one other thing. If at this point you think, actually, I'm going to be wearing a beautiful green outfit, or I'm going to be wearing a beautiful blue outfit, and I want a little bit of colour, this is when I often say, and I used to do this when we had the shops in Wimbledon and in Guildford, if you want a little bit of colour, say I was wearing green, I might take the forest green, take a darker one, and at this point, go over where I've done the taupe with just, I won't do it now, but just a tiny bit of the green to go over here and here. Or if I was wearing blue and wanted to bring a little bit of blue in, I might take the midnight blue and put a tiny sweep of midnight blue, again, in that socket line, or over my eyeliner to create just that little bit of colour, but without it looking though I'm wearing the whole green palette. So that is a really useful tip. If you want to introduce a little bit of colour, but you don't want to go the whole hog, then to use the neutrals as a bit of a base and then just bring in a little sweep of the colour that you're wearing. So, okay, what I'm going to do now is I am going to put on my beautiful Instant Bright highlighter. I love this one. I'm going to put it just a little bit under my brow. Let's see, both brow. And just take the concealer brush. I like doing this with the concealer brush and just blend it very slightly. So this just makes my brows. I have done my brows. That's the other thing I did this morning. to save time, I used the Bring Back Brow shape in blonde on my brows to define them. That's a really lovely colour too. If you have got a similar sort of brow colour to me, you can also use from this trio the taupe to just go over your brows. That's a really nice, doesn't last like the Bring Back Brow, but if you want to add a little bit of extra in, or you haven't got the Bring Back Brow, then using your wedge brush and the taupe actually also is a really nice way of just giving your brows a little bit more definition. So while I've got the Instant Bright highlighter, I'm going to put it in the place that I love, which is just a stripe down my nose. And just a little bit, just dust off before I do that. Dust off the powder. A little bit just on my cheekbones. And just tap that in. So there's only one colour in this, so you don't have to worry if you're warm or cool or neutral. This is just a universal, fantastic, I call it my magic pen. I love it. Love this product. You can also put it into I like to put it into my frown lines, which I have obviously frown a lot. So I'm going to tap that in, and that will just blur them, because it's light brings forward. So any deep furrows you've got, if you put a little bit in and just tap it in, it has the effect of just lightening them, and therefore bringing them forward so they don't look so furrowed. So top tip, love this one. A little bit on my Cupid's bow. Right, what I need to do now is I desperately need some mascara. Because eyes are never finished until you put your mascara on. So I am going to use black waterproof mascara, Live Lash Mascara in black. And even a really neutral look will benefit massively from mascara. So you can so even if you're just wearing a wash of one colour from the neutral trio, if you put a little bit of mascara on, it really just defines the eyes. And I just like to wiggle and slightly blink onto the mascara wand. I've got quite fair lashes, so my eyes never look right until I've got my mascara on. Let's get a little... It's difficult to do this live because you can't see very well, as Tricia knows. Not easy. So just blink down. Let's do this one. The worst thing is doing mascara when you're in a hurry. Have any of you ever sneezed when you put your mascara on? That's the sneeze, or your hand slips. Top tip, if that happens and you get a massive blob, is to take a cotton bud, dip it into your foundation, and just remove the blob with the cotton bud with the foundation on, and then that doesn't remove all your makeup. The worst thing you can do is to get your finger and do that and rub it, or because then then you've got to sort of start again. So wiggling that through. Really lovely mascaras, because they don't have all the little bobby filamenty bits in them, so they're just very, very natural looking on your lashes. And if you want to, you can put your little bit of mascara on the bottom. Some people like to, some people don't. I like using the waterproof one so that it doesn't smudge at all. Again, just. And it's funny, everyone's expectation of makeup is different. Some people, they put this on and they go, oh, I've got so much eye makeup on. And other people put this on and go, well, I can't see a thing. You know, everyone's idea of what they think a neutral look is, or what they think a lot of makeup is so different. So it's just what you feel suits you, and your level of confidence. So let me just blend that again. Now I need some blusher. If you are neutral, then the peach cream blusher, this one, is a wonderful one, as is Desert Rose. They both look good, actually. So peach cream, I know Tricia often wears this, even though she's cool. She loves this one, don't you, Tricia? So I love this one too. It's one of my favorite blushers. It's very unusual. It's peach, but it has a little tiny bit of pink in it. And as we get older, it's really nice to have that slight flush of rosiness rather than going too. Sometimes when I was younger, I used to wear very peachy colors, really peachy, more orangey blushes, and I could get away with them. Now they don't look good. I need to have that tiny bit of pink in my blusher. And that's where this one is so beautiful. It just works, as does Desert Rose. So I'll just tuck this one on. I do it in a sort of like a bit like a teardrop shape, not too low. I tend to put it on with my finger, and then I take the blusher brush, number 2, and just blend it, sweeping it upwards. I look so much better when I've got blusher on. I just come alive with blusher. I'm very bland. My face is very much one colour at the moment. So if I don't put my blusher on, I look a bit ill, really. That's my peach blusher. As for neutral lips, and I'm going to demonstrate today with Roseberry, which you can wear if you are warm or you are cool. The other really good colour is Damson. We're talking about lip liners, first of all. Lip liner, Damson is a good one. For me, I find, because I'm warmer, I find of the 2 neutral sort of shades, Roseberry is a little bit more flattering to me. Probably Tricia would, if she was to wear those, she would be better in the Damson. But this is I love this one. So this is Roseberry. So I'm going to outline my lips, but then I'm going to fill it in as well. So again, a little bit up. Very difficult to talk when you're doing this. Sorry. So just a very, very natural, nudie, pretty lip liner. And then I am going to use this one, which is Soft Cinnamon. Soft Cinnamon, this colour. Again, a real nudie colour. Rosewood is another really nice one to use. Other neutral lipsticks are Soft Coral, Soft Caramel, Dusky Rose. That's quite a nice neutral one. If you want slightly pinker, Tulip Pink, that's a good one. And Tawny Beige, I often wear Tawny Beige. And Mulberry is a really nice one too, a little bit more depth to it. So, but I'm going to use this one. I'll just put it on from the bullet to save a bit of time as well. Right. It's a really sort of fairly neutral, not really warm, not really cool, really sort of pretty look as a lipstick colour. I love the fact that it's just, they've all got a little slight sheen to them, so they're not totally matte, but they're not really, really glossy. So that is Soft Cinnamon. Rosewood for me is a little bit more blue based, I find, Rosewood on me as a warmer person. So if you are slightly cooler or prefer the slightly cooler ones, then you might prefer Rosewood, or you might prefer Mulberry. So that is, as you can see, it's still a fairly neutral, well, I think it's a fairly neutral look, but I look a little bit stronger on this side than this side, because I've just gone with this one, I've really hardly put eyeliner on, and I've hardly used the taupe. This one I put a little bit more colour onto my eyes, and I've used the eyeliner, which has just defined that eye a little bit more. And I hope that that's given you a little bit of a few ideas for using the soft neutrals and all the neutral shades that are, I think they're brilliant actually, because you can just tweak them and tailor make them to what you're wearing. And as I said earlier, I love to use this and then put a dash of midnight blue over, and then use the midnight blue over the grey eyeliner to create that little bit of a stronger look, or maybe the forest green, or if you're cooler you could use aubergine. That would work really well too. And if you're warmer you could use chocolate without it being too strong. So I hope that was helpful, and I'll hand back to Tricia when you've got any questions on that or anything.
Thank you, Sally. Brilliant as always, and really, really helpful demonstration there. I'm just going to say a little bit about colour. We've got a new colour quiz, which is really important to tell you. We had one on our website, and we've refreshed it somewhat, and it's slightly different. So have a look at that if you want to go through and answer those questions and see where you come out. And I also want to say a little bit about the warm and cool tone and the sort of vibrancy of each. So if you're cool toned, and if you ever did Colour Me Beautiful years and years and years ago, like I did, you know that they divided people into seasons, and they used the concept of spring, summer, autumn, winter to describe the colouring that suited women, different women most. And I came out as a sort of vibrant winter. And because of that, I need and really look better in colours that pack a bit of a punch. So if I tone it down and go very neutral, it doesn't suit me as well as it might do somebody who is summer. So summer is cool toned, but it's cool toned in a much, much softer way. And the same with warm tones. So the ones that need the colour punch are the autumns. So people like my daughter Anna, who's got red hair, brown eyes, and she looks much better when she's wearing something more vibrant, both in terms of clothes and also with her lipstick. But the softer tones, in fact, my other daughter Susie is a warm tone, but she's a spring. So she actually looks really nice in those softer, subtler tones of the warm tone colors. Now, when you tone it down and you're using colors that really aren't vibrant, don't pack a punch, they're subtler, they're softer. If you're spring or summer, and you know that you're warm or cool tones, you might find that they work really well for you. I don't think they work very well for me at all. Having said that, I do love taupe. Taupe is a good color for me in terms of eyeshadows, but it always feels to me like I haven't got enough makeup on when I put those paler colors on. Partly, I think, because as Sally says, you get used to what your face looks like with makeup. It becomes the norm for you. So you look in the mirror and you think, yeah, look great. And somebody else might, I mean, I'm sure there are people who look at me and think, oh my God, what's that woman got on her face? She's got so much makeup on. That's their problem, not mine, because I'm perfectly happy with the way I look. So just about this idea of softening it and subtlety and all that kind of thing. And of course, as we age, our faces fade, they become paler, the features fade, they become less prominent in our faces, our eyes, our lips, our cheeks, and so on and so forth. So toning it down slightly can work really well if you feel the need to just soften it down. But don't let other people put you off if you put a stronger color on and you really love it. So I hope that's helpful, just as an aside on color. I'm going to come to any questions that you've asked, and I encourage you now, if you've got any questions, please do put them into the chat function so that Brian can pick them up and ask us to answer those questions for you. But I want to tell you about the offer that we have this week. It's a very, very generous offer. It's 25% off what we've called our ambassador picks. As you know, we've got women that we ask to join us from time to time to become our ambassadors. and they make little videos for us. They post things on Facebook for us. So they're really there to represent Look Fabulous Forever in various ways, and we love having their inputs and their company. And so they've made some selections of things that they really love from our range, and we are offering 25% off. I've just had a look at the ambassador picks, and it includes things like the Root Boost spray. What else is there? There's the eye makeup remover. I might get Bryony at the end, if she doesn't mind, to just read out the list of what the ambassador picks are. There's some really good products there. The continuous cover foundation is part of it, so we've put some really good products in there. And what it means is that anything you buy from the website, if you put one of the ambassador picks in your basket and you use the code ambassador, just spell out the word, then 25% will come off that particular product. Obviously, if you choose more than one product, you'll get 25% off on each of them. So just wanted to tell you about that. So I'll come to Bryony now and just see if there are any questions from anybody.
Yes, we've had a couple of questions. So the first one's from Alison. How do you go about preventing the eyeshadow from spreading into the side of your nose? She tends to use green as she's got green eyes, and she uses the LFF brush, but how do you stop that gathering in the corner?
Okay, so the first thing to say, Alison, is what I do, I put on my concealer, which I push into the corner because I've got very dark, sort of dark blue patches there now. It is a sign of aging, and it has got worse the older I've got. And I always top that with some translucent powder. So the corner of my eye is to a certain extent protected from the stuff settling badly on there, because so wiping it away is easier because it's got that, like Sally just demonstrated, putting some powder here and then sweeping that off. So she sweeps away any of those little particles that go down. So there's that. So it's not going into anything that's sticky and grabby there. Certainly I wouldn't just put concealer there. I would always top it with translucent powder so that you've got a slightly smoother surface. But then if I think that you need to use, and I haven't got one here to demonstrate with, but a cotton pad. Cotton pads are brilliant for protecting areas around your face from the inevitable sort of drop down speckly bits and stuff that comes from your eye makeup as you're applying it. So what you can do is to hold one of those pads in there whilst you put your eye makeup on. So just push the pad in there so that you're protecting that area, and apply it that way, and just so that it can't go on that area because you've covered it up. I think that's the best way. I use those pads on the top. I don't tend to do the translucent powder thing. Sally finds that helpful to do while she's demonstrating, because if she was holding pads, it's difficult because she's using a hand to do that. It frees her hands up. And also it's easier for her to demonstrate if she's got the clear face and you can see the whole thing. But when I'm putting my eye makeup on, I'm using cotton pads all the time, and I'm putting them places where I don't want the eyeshadow to migrate to, and that works for me. I hope that answers your question, Alison, because there is no magic. They're shadows, and they're quite, they are quite loose because they need to be able to be spread and blended, and they need to be a product that you can work onto your eye. So if they were very solid, you'd put them on, you wouldn't be able to move them, and they would look horrible. So they have to be a fairly loose powder, and because of that, you inevitably get the speckles. But for me, the best way is always to use the round cotton pads that you buy to protect the area. If that doesn't answer your question, come back at me. Oh, she says, thank you, very helpful, Alison. I can see, I can see it down there. Thank you very much. Good, I'm glad that was very helpful. I'm glad to be able to give you some a good tip. Anything else?
Yes, one other question from Linda. What is the best way to get a nice coverage on crepey eyelids?
Sally, do you want to take that one?
Yeah. First of all, I would absolutely agree with everything, Tricia. You said exactly what I would have said to Alison. Totally, just going, I like that is what you were saying, isn't it? With that way, and holding the cotton pad, definitely. And also just going back to that one, just blending really, really well, really blending that eyeshadow. So yes, going on to Linda's question. Crepey eyes, a very, very common problem as we get older, that smoothness of eyes just sadly just goes, oh, I'd love my eyes to be smooth again. The most brilliant product, genuinely, I don't know if you already use it, Linda, is the Smooth Out Eye Prime. I find that if I use this, it just, even with people with really crepey eyes, the secret is not to use too much, and to make sure that your eyelids, I've said this before, are dry and oil-free when you put this product on, but just a little bit on the area and just sort of up to where you are putting the eyeshadow on. And what I do is I like to blend it with if you can, a clean concealer brush, to really blend it well, will just really help with the effect of crepey eyes, because it does exactly what it says on the tin, smooth out the eye. It really does do two things. It smooths that whole eyelid area, it gets rid of any sort of little veins on there, so you've got a perfect base for your color, so that your color goes on true, and it stops the eyeshadow from creasing. And as we get older, that creasy eyeshadow look is not flattering, and this really helps. And I think using the matte shadows is also good on really crepey eyes. We do have the shimmery, the 3 shimmery ones, but I probably wouldn't use those all over the eyelid. You can use them sort of a little bit, a little dot in the center, but I would stick to the fairly matte shades that we do. We have such a massive range of those to help with that crepey eye area. Anything else you'd say for that, Tricia?
No, I've seen some threads on Super Troopers the last few weeks about people who find that the eye primer pills a bit, you know, and bubbles a bit. It must be because there's some superficial oil. You know, our skins have, our skin has oil in it that's on the residue that then combines with the eye primer and causes it to sort of slide off. It's never happened to me. I don't think I don't have greasy skin, and not particularly greasy eye lids, but just, you know, you really do, and make sure, I mean, wash your eyelids with water. Just really make sure that you've got any residue that's on there taken off, because things like I use our eye makeup remover at night to remove my eye makeup, obviously, and it's brilliant stuff, and it has got, you know, you shake it up, it's got oil and water and then they separate, and you must shake it up and then you apply it, and it does leave a little residue of oil on my eyelids when I've reused it, but then I wash my face and make sure that all my cleanser has gone and all my eye makeup remover has gone. But if I don't do that thoroughly, perhaps I'm in a hurry and in the morning I haven't bothered to actually wash my eyelids, there might be a little residue of that eye makeup remover on my eyelids in the morning. So just really make sure your eyelids are really clean. And another tip for you, which will annoy you if you've already thrown it away or the top came off, the old container that we used to have for our eye makeup remover had a sponge applicator in it. And what I've started to do, because I've still got the old container, I've started to squeeze the tube of eye prime into my, I'm using it as a refill, basically, because I find that it's an easier way to apply it. So I use still using the old sponge applicator to put the eye primer on, and I just put a dot of it, literally a single dot of it, into the center of my eyelid, and then I smooth it across using that brush that Sally showed you, which is our number 4 brush. Yeah. And the other thing is, just going back to Alison's question about the corner here, I also make sure that I spread the eye primer well into that corner, because it meets the point at which I've got concealer, and because it has that neutralizing effect on any discoloration you have on your eye lids, it actually again increases the amount of coverage that you're putting onto that blue bit in there. So I make sure it goes into the corner as well. I love our eye primer. It was one of the first products that I asked for when I talked to the lovely guy who makes our makeup for us. And I just said, I've got to have 3 primers. I've got to have a face primer, I've got to have an eye primer, and I've got to have a lip primer. And they all do slightly different jobs, because when you're older, your makeup disappears really fast. And I find with the eye primer, I put my eye makeup on, matte shadows really makes a difference to not drawing attention to crepey eyelids. And my eye makeup lasts all day, and it's still there when I go to bed, and I take it off with eye makeup remover. So I hope that answers your question. If you come back and say, I'm already using eye primer, I guess anyway, does that answer your question? Who asked that question?
Linda.
That was Linda.
Linda.
One other thing about nice coverage, a lot of people don't put enough of the base eyeshadow colour on. They sort of put it on it very lightly, and therefore it's a little bit patchy. And then when they put the second one on, if they're using a second colour, it hasn't got enough to adhere to. So even with crepey eyes, I think it's really important to get a very good base, a reasonable amount of that, particularly that first colour, that no shimmer eye shade on, and blend it really well. Keep blending, blend, blend, blend. You can never blend eyeshadows too much. And then I think that will also help with adherence, and therefore it will look less crepey.
Mm. Linda, do you want to take yourself off mute?
Yes.
I'm very conscious when we're talking at people like this. Tell us, does that help? What are you doing at the moment?
I'm doing everything except use the eye prime, so I will get some of that and give it a whiz.
OMG. OMG, that's such a relief, because if you'd ask this thing about crepey eyelids, it's like, this is the product to help you with crepey eyelids and you're not using it. Fantastic. So it's such good news, because we have a solution for you. And I promise you that that's why I wanted it in the range, why I got it made for us, because to me, the problem of crepey eyelids is that you haven't got the smooth surface. And if you sometimes little adverts pop up on my Facebook where a very young model is demonstrating some kind of eye makeup technique, and you sit there and you go, oh, for eyelids like that. Like, if only my eyelids were like that again. And they're not. And believe me, I have 75-year-old eyelids, and they are seriously bumpy, and they're difficult. It's much more difficult to put eye makeup on older eyes, for sure. It's much more difficult. You need to be more patient, more careful, more precise, and you just need to accept the fact that you haven't got that beautiful smooth surface on which to apply it. So thank you, Linda, and I'm glad to you don't use it already.
It's okay, thank you.
Because that's a relief. If you were saying, no, I'm doing all of that, Tricia, and it still looks terrible, it's like, I don't know. No solution to that. So good to hear. Back to you, Bryony. Are we good?
Yes, that was it. Just the 2 questions.
Okay, so Bryony's now put those products into the chat function. Can you all see them? Can you nod your head if you can see them? Yeah. All right, so we don't need to read them out for you. That's brilliant. So thank you, everybody. Lovely to see all of you. Wish me luck this afternoon. It's raining a bit here in Cornwall. We're going into Truro. We're going to go to Ask Pasta. Is it Ask Pasta for supper at 5 o'clock? Having an early supper. We're at 7:30 in the theatre to watch Prue. And Anna has told me that on pain of death, I can't return from Cornwall unless I get some kind of selfie with her. So I shall be elbowing my way in. Prue, I need you. She's going to look at this mad woman coming towards her and saying, oh my God, who is this awful person? Anyway, hopefully I can get a selfie with her, which we'll put onto Super Troopers and to Facebook, and it'll be a fun evening. So lovely to have your company. Nice to see all of you. Thank you, Bryony. Thank you, Sally, again for brilliant demonstration. And we'll look forward to seeing you next month for another Magic Makeup Monday. So bye-bye, everybody.